Welcome back, everybody. My name is Lee with Ground Zero Reptiles, and today we're going to discuss a guide on how to feed your ball python.
Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon too. Welcome to Ground Zero Reptiles.
First topic we're going to discuss is your ball python's feeding personality. We all know that ball pythons tend to have an individual personality. With king snakes, their appetite and their feeding response is very ferocious. So we can feed them and not have any problems with them going on a hunger strike. But the thing is, you can't make that general statement about ball pythons. For example, Zero here, he's just a normal ball python. He is a very ferocious eater. I haven't had any issues with him eating. His feed responses, once I put it into sight and he smells it, he is on it. Isn't that right, Zero? He is an absolutely amazing feeder. The thing I do consistently throughout my reptiles is I feed them at night. Let me give you another example. Captain Reynolds here, he's a very shy eater and very defensive. He, for the most part, I've fed him so far since I've had him 3 times. Twice, he didn't eat on the strike, but I had to leave it in there, as you've seen in one of my videos. So for the most part, he's a shy eater. Okay, here's another example. This is Buttercup. She will strike, but she hasn't wrapped. She'll drag it into her little hide. Very strange. But like I said, all my snakes, they eat at night. I haven't had any issues with a refusal, but they each have their different personality. So that being said, each individual python, ball python, has their own personality and their feed response. And it's our responsibility as owners or parents, however you want to label yourself is fine, to make sure we understand that and feed them appropriately. Topic number 2 is, how often should we feed our ball pythons? And that's a very, very split conversation because things are a little bit different. With breeders, they do something called power feeding. They will feed their ball python about every 5 days until they're about 500 grams. Then they'll go about every 7 days. But generally, as owners and of ball pythons that are not meaning to breed their ball pythons or planning to, we should feed them every about 7 to 10 days. When they're a little bit younger, I'd say every 7 days, and when they become an adult, you can go up to about 10 days. And the reason why we don't feed them so often is because ball pythons have a slower metabolism. They're ambush hunters, so they only hunt when they're hungry and when they need to. Other snakes, like king snakes, they go out hunting and they actually have to hunt for their food. Look for it, track it down, hunt it. Ball pythons sit there, wait, not moving, sit there, wait. Here comes their prey, they attack, and then that's it. They don't do much moving, therefore a slower metabolism. Number 3 is a big discussion item, is what size prey do we feed our ball pythons? And that is kind of discussed in 2 different ways. Some groups will say, feed your ball python a rat or mouse that is 10 to 15% their body weight. So if I have a 1,000 gram ball python, I'd feed a rat or mouse that's anywhere between 100 and 150 grams. The other way people gauge is they feed a rat or mouse that is the size, the thickness, the girth of the largest part of the ball python. So if I have a ball python that's about this thick, I want a rodent about this thick or just a little bit wider, not too much. You want it to have a slight bulge. You don't want to look like a tennis ball that's inside of a garden hose. Yes, that will cause issues. And yes, ball pythons could eat and swallow prey that big because of the elasticity that it has in its mouth and jaws as it retracts and goes around the prey. But it doesn't mean it's good for the ball python. And also, if we are feeding our ball pythons meals that are too big, it can cause obesity, which also makes it a very unhealthy snake. You want the snake to have a slight triangular shape, not too steep, then that means they're severely underfed, and you don't want it too round, means they're overfed. We want to make sure we feed our ball pythons the correct amount at the correct times. Topic number 4, we're going to discuss the benefits of frozen thawed. One of the benefits when you get it from a reputable feeder rodent shipping company is if they freeze it properly, those rodents will not have any parasites. It being so cold, it kills the parasites. Granted, if you thaw your frozen thawed out and you leave it out, yes, it can start getting bacteria that can be unhealthy. But if you thaw it properly and feed it right when it's thawed, then you won't have those issues. Yes, you can buy frozen thawed at pet stores and also reptile shows, but you also can have them shipped to you. It actually is a lot cheaper to have it shipped to you in bulk. Topic number 5 is the dangers of offering live prey. As I discussed in my previous video about why I choose and how I de-thaw and feed my ball pythons frozen thawed, I discussed in there that if you put your feeder rat or feeder mouse in your ball python's tank, it can harm your snake because it has nowhere to escape, so it has to fight, it has to fend for its life. So it can hurt your snake, and that's why if you choose to feed live prey, make sure you monitor your snake. And the reason why is because the ball python, when it's ready, it will hunt. But if it's not, it will stay hidden. And that's where it causes those issues. And that's why I recommend feeding frozen thawed compared to live. But I don't talk down to anyone that chooses to use live feed. Just make sure you're monitoring. That's all I ask. Topic number 6 is the importance of cage temperature and hiding spots. Your ball python will likely to eat regularly if you maintain these proper temperatures and hiding spots. If not, the likelihood of having a successful feed dwindles once the temperatures drop or get too hot. Now, if you're feeding, let's say, a king snake, the king snake is a little bit more resilient, and since it's a ferocious eater, the temperature change can be a lot more drastic, and still you can have a successful feed. But that's not the same with ball pythons. So that being said, if your ball python isn't eating properly, check the temperatures. The temperatures should be anywhere between 80 on the cool side and 90 on the hot spot. If those temperatures are correct, then there might be some other issues. Another issue that can be what is due to lack of a hide spot, and which a lack of a hide spot causes is stress. So if your ball python feels stressed out, check your husbandry and see if he has a hide spot. He needs a hide spot on the hot side and the cold side. And another issue that a lot of us owners have, because we do absolutely love and admire our ball pythons, is that we may handle them too much, which then does cause that stress, which then causes them to not eat. So we have to make sure we give them their space, let them de-stress, so then they can eat properly. Number 7, I'm going to go in a lot more detail in another video, but number 7 is reasons why they won't eat. One of the reasons could be because they're stressed. They're stressed out because of being handled too much, or their husbandry can be stressing them out. Another one is it could either be too cold or too hot, which then that could be a reason why they're going off of feed. And another reason is they can be on a shed cycle. Most ball pythons don't like to eat when they're shedding. Zero, he'll eat at any time I feed him. Captain Reynolds may or may not. He's very picky. I've been lucky to not have any issues, any refusals, but the time will come. But there's other owners out there that have refusals during shedding. Another reason is because they're sick. They can have a RI or a respiratory infection. They can be backed up, or they can have some sort of other virus or disease going on that we cannot see. And the last thing of why your ball python isn't eating is because it could be going through its breeding season. And during those breeding seasons, both females, majority females, but sometimes males, will go on a hunger strike or feeding strike, which they just won't eat for that season. And that can be a few weeks, that can be a few months. Alrighty folks, I hope this video helps out with any questions or concerns that you have for your ball python and its feeding. And if you have any more questions, please put in the comments below. And either me or someone else that has experience will answer those. And thank you for watching this video. Take care of each other, take care of your reptiles, and have a great day.